Wiley. How's it going? You good? You gonna go down? Go on then. Wiley and I today want to talk about PlayStation 2.
Let me tell you what bugs me about human endeavour. I've never been the human in question.
You and I know that gaming software has always been at the cutting edge of graphics, simulation, the best of computing. And that's what the military do too. So you want to join the armed services, but you're this weak, spotty teenager. You need training, but training's expensive. But the military have cracked it. In a nondescript microprocessing box is Camp Pendleton. It's a virtual reality fighting scenario to train the Marines. They have dusty streets, buildings, and even mosques, because that's probably where you're gonna fight. So do the spotty recruits sit down in front of a PlayStation and play war games? No. They need to wear their full heavy kit. They need to have weapons. They need to work in teams. How would that work? Well, a number of years ago, in a place like this, everybody wore virtual reality headsets. It could track your position in volumetric space, and you could interact in a virtual way with this war game scenario. But wouldn't it be great if you could actually feel as if you were there? Well, you can today. This is the ancient and leafy university in Aberystwyth in Wales. One department there is funded by the Ministry of Defence and looks at virtual reality visualizations. They are building real holodecks. So today's spotty recruit now goes into this holodeck and runs around in real time, in kit, with everything projected on them. It's as if they're inside a virtual computer game that they can see. And here's the next step. You and your team train scenarios in this virtual holodeck, and then you're sent to the real place. Not Afghanistan, but in Southern California. They built a real replica of the computer game. Look at this. Virtual, real. Virtual, real. With the skills that you've learned in the virtual reality world, you can now turn it into the physical world at Camp Pendleton, where you play the game with bricks and mortar and your team. It takes it up to a new level. How amazing is that? And wouldn't it be great if you could do that, say, for the Navy? Well, you can. But before I get to the big reveal, where I tell you what the Navy can really do today in making real-looking planes appear in the sky, let's talk about simulation training. In the US Navy, it's all run by this guy. It used to be called Navy Strike Advanced Readiness Program, but something's changed, and so's the acronym. It's now NAWDC, and that reveals a secret. Just off the coast of California is San Clemente Island. Oh, hang on, this is me from the future. I made a mistake here. So, Lightspeed Briefs and Michael Blaisdell both told me that I should pronounce the island San Clemente Island. Thank you very much. Back to the show. Just off the coast of California is San Clemente Island, the center of NAWDC. What does it stand for, Simon? It stands for Navy Advanced Warfare Development Center. And what did they do? Anything they damn want. So simulated warfare training needs to be as real as possible, not only so you can fire your weapons, see the enemy on a radar screen. Oh, that's really old-fashioned. I was going to do a circle with a sweep. I think it's more of a rectangular HD touchscreen these days. But it's also about something else. It's about psychological warfare. How is your stress level when you're used to seeing a couple of blips on your screen and suddenly it lights up with enemies? You go into red alert, the color of the room changes, your boss starts yelling at you. How do you cope? And that's what they need to assess. The radar operator is under enormous stress. And here's my first big reveal, and that is, I actually don't know what I'm talking about, but you do. And that's the whole point of this channel. This is an introduction to simulated warfare. You know what it really is. Tell us what you can that's not classified, and let's share it so we can understand, because I think it holds a number of secrets to things that have happened in the Navy's recent past. Things that they've seen flying about might be solved if we understand advanced simulation training. So what do I know? Well, I know this amazing fact. Every single piece of kit on board a ship, an airplane, I'm talking about radar, I'm talking about other weapon systems, can be taken over by a virtual enemy. Yeah. There's a big secret switch that can turn any ship, any aircraft, any facility, and all its equipment over to wargaming scenario. So they do this regularly as training. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're on board the Nimitz, and you're monitoring some commercial aircraft from Honolulu to San Diego, and then suddenly, red alert! You've got bogeys in your airspace. You have to react. But it's only a virtual reality, and it's good training. So everything I've just said, you already know about. But wouldn't it be amazing if you could take this whole wargaming scenario to the next level? So NAWDC can take over your ship. That's what it's built to do. So that would work very well in a radar ops ready room with no windows, and the lights change and baddies appear on all your sensors, and they're all interlinked, so it seems very real. But if you're actually flying an F-18, you might get a steer to intercept a baddie plane, and it appears on your radar as a blip which you can lock onto. You get up there and, well, there's nothing there, is it? I mean, it's just a blip on your radar screen. And you go, yeah. That doesn't actually cause real stress. Wouldn't it be amazing if when you got up there, you saw an aircraft? But of course that's impossible. You can't put a real aircraft that you can see with your eyeballs out your cockpit in real space. But maybe you can. By rastering plasma, it is possible to generate a 2D or 3D volumetric image in space. In a second embodiment, there can be multiple laser systems mounted on the back of an air vehicle, with each laser generating a ghost image, such that there would appear to be multiple air vehicles present. So let's step back from wargaming and into the world of Star Wars and George Lucas. They had lightsabers, but lightsabers are an enormous issue. They're a handset with a beam that comes out and stops in midair and makes the beam visible. You can't do that. When you shine a laser, you only see it when it hits something, and when it goes too far, it diverges and it's absorbed by the atmosphere. You apparently can't shine a laser that stops somewhere in space, making a red dot that hovers in space. Can you? No, of course not. Well, yeah, you can. Look at this. In the civilian world, as a spin-off of what I'm about to tell you, astronomers needed a spot that appeared in space. It's called a guide star. And you make it by shining 4 lasers all together. Ooh, bop. So their small amount of energy is all focused on one tiny bit. And where they converge, it ionizes the air. So what is ionized air? What am I talking about? Well, overly simplifying it is where normal matter, the atmosphere, say, is split up into ions and it becomes the 4th state of matter. Not solid, not liquid, not gaseous, but plasma. Of course, I was going to say it. Plasma. And a plasma ball appears at the focal point of these 4 reasonably powered lasers. So you've made a dot in the air. You've made a lightsaber. So what's that got to do with the price of beer, or is it electricity these days? Everything. Because if you can make a dot, you can move the dot and draw a shape. If you can draw a shape fast enough, you can draw an airplane and you can see it with your eyeballs. And that's what the Navy does from San Clemente Island. You've seen what they can do from San Clemente Island on your telly, Ancient Aliens.
San Clemente Island, California, 68 nautical miles west of San Diego. 9 U.S. warships are performing nighttime training exercises in restricted waters.
Suddenly and unexpectedly, the exercise is interrupted by an unknown presence.
And a few years ago, you saw a very early visualization, just a tic-tac shaped blobby thing. So in my humble opinion, it might just be an early visualization in the simulated world. Let's run over some of the facts. The Nimitz can be controlled remotely. The whole system can be turned over to simulation mode. It's just off San Clemente Island, which is the center that controls this. They've got plasma visualizations that can make weird glowing things in the sky. They can move them around at any speed to any place. They seem to know where they were going to the CAP point, and they saw them with their eyeballs. What does this all add up to? Well, 2 things. 1, I am completely crazy and don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm onto something. And how are we going to prove this is true? Well, I'm handing this all over to you. If you know more information on this subject, leave a comment below and press the like button to tell YouTube that this is the type of subject that you want to watch on your computer. And subscribe to my channel to get updates on what other people are going to say, because I'll bring it to you. And become a Patreon and speak to me and others directly to debate this ongoing mystery, because the truth is still out there.